Trump's psychotic niece, Mary Trump, comes back out to get some attention. I don't know, but ends up revealing longtime family lies that have been stacking up against Trump. We also are going to hear from Kid Rock and, of course, the biased media against Trump, which we're here to full-time expose. Welcome to the Doug TenNapel channel. I'm Doug TenNapel, creator of Earthworm Jim, The Neverhood, Nickelodeon's Cat Scratch, over 20 graphic novels, 3 animated television series, and 12 video games. On top of that, I'm a YouTuber with a 1.5 million viewing audience that are still trying to find me. So thank you all for subscribing and doing your part. Let's watch the media bias.
The UK Telegraph apologized for at least 8 mistakes in an article criticizing Melania Trump.
So it's Newsweek. They'll throw out lies about Melania Trump and have to apologize for it later because the media is #1 against Trump. Here's Mary Trump on MSNBC with redhead has-been Jen Psaki. You'll start to reveal like there's a lot of family of them just psychotically being jealous with Trump derangement syndrome.
But you still share some disturbing insight into your uncle. I mean, one of the things that stuck out to me that I kind of just mentioned there was how you talk about how Donald Trump's father, your grandfather, indulged his delusions and essentially glossed over his very obvious failings. I mean, that sounds to me like what the Republican Party has been doing for more than 8 years now.
Yeah, that's not even close to news advocacy, not even close to a professional news person, Jen Psaki. And she's going after Fred Trump, which we've already done a positive interview about him paying all of the school for a kid whose dad had a heart attack who went to school with Trump. That Fred Trump paid for his, and all three, he and his 2 siblings, all 3 of them, for their entire grade school, he paid for it. So now here's Mary Trump. Look at her, total hippie, woke, deranged. Listen to her talk about Trump.
And there is some focus on Donald because he and I grew up, although in different generations, in the same family. And I had the great misfortune of sort of watching how all of that unfolded, how it affected my dad and therefore me.
Yeah, your dad. By the way, she's selling a book, everybody. So she's rolling out the Trump name to sell a book. I would love to sell a book based on the TenNapel name. If only there were TenNapels that were super, super worldwide famous. So I could just be a no talent like Mary Trump and just put out a book, get a free spot on MSNBC. The rest of us don't get that. See, I had to sell my 20 books that made a living for me and my family based on the quality of the stuff that I wrote and drew in comic books for 30 years. I actually made it on being a good writer. You're Mary Trump.
I think the fundamental problem was that my father, Fred Jr., was the oldest son and namesake who was expected to take over the family business. My grandfather, and I'm saying this term diagnostically, was a sociopath who saw other people as tools. And when he found my father wanting for various very complicated reasons, he turned to his next oldest son, Donald, who had no skill.
Psycho, I'm going to ask you guys an honest question. You can let me know down in the chat. What do you think of someone like Mary Trump who brings up personal family discussions to make a point in public? Like if I had criticized my grandfather, I have criticisms of my grandfather, but what if I came out and said he was delusional or psychotic or abusive? What do you think of people who do that to family? Now let's go to Kid Rock, who tells a story of how he got a personal tour in the White House by President Trump. And it's just a great story. So I wanted to give you kind of the 2 views of Trump. This is from someone who's a personal friend who knows him well, Kid Rock.
And his knowledge of American history, every painting in there. He's like, this is Andrew Jackson, and he did this, and this. Like it was like a history lesson. The doctors were great. He walks by the doctors, he goes, doctors are great. He's like, hey, guys, if I drop of a heart attack, can you bring me back? They're like, yes, sir. He's like, they're the best. They're the best.
I just love that story. I think it's so charming and warm. We have more of this story in just a moment, but I liked how he goes first of all, that he knows history. I didn't know that about Trump at all, and I wouldn't have guessed it, that he knows things about history and about the paintings and things. But also that he goes to the doctors and says, can you bring me back if I have a massive heart attack? Yes, they can. I think that's a really funny, I like kind of dark humor. But here's the best, guys. We're going to close the shows on this one, because this is the good stuff that really gives you a peek inside Trump's head.
And the one thing he said about that when he's showing us around, I go, I can't believe you're showing us all this. He goes, this is the people's house. This is your house.
Man, that says it all right there.
That says it all.
Says it all. It's all you need to know, guys. I'm Doug in Exile.